It is Tuesday. It is 10 to 8 of the evening. This is oNiD Racing live, and it can only mean one thing, and that is it's GT4 action time. Good evening, everyone. Starting a little early tonight, wanting to get in with you and start the chat as early as possible. My name's Adam D. For those of you that haven't joined us before, and I'll be taking you through all of the GT4 action tonight here on Assetto Corsa Competizione. Good evening, JB. So yeah, a couple of you joining in the chat already. So get in there, say hello, come talk to me. I'm riding solo tonight, so always good to have the chat with the chat instead. You can see the schedule up there. We are round 3 tonight at Donington Park. It's 2 25-minute sprint races tonight, which always leads to really good racing action. I'm sure we're going to have fun through Redgate twice on an opening lap tonight. But we've got 18 cars in the server right now. They're still got 12 minutes or so of their practice session. And shortly they'll all be diving in to the pits so that they can listen to Mr. Willie Blackhammer talking through the driver's briefing. Although, I don't know how many people are going to be able to hear it, because it would appear that for some people there are some Discord issues out there tonight. It seems that Discord servers are having a bit of a meltdown, so not everyone actually has access to Discord tonight. I'm okay. Everything seems to be working absolutely fine for me. But yeah, I think it's those on Wi-Fi on PC that seem to be having issues. So some people diving in on their phone so that they can listen in. Right, into the chat then. Oh, hi, Van der Veen. Good evening, sir. No three-way tonight. Just a one-way. Not sure of a good way to talk about that, so I'm not going to. Just me by myself tonight, but that's absolutely fine. I can talk. I don't generally have any issues with that, and let's hope the on-track action keeps you entertained. Ben22 Racing with his Let's Go, and just a shout out to Ben. Ben does a lot behind the scenes at oNiD Racing. He's our head of media after all. But on top of that, Ben does a great job with liveries as well. He's in the process of launching his own website so that you guys can actually go and commission him to do liveries for you, particularly in ACC, but I think he does RF2 and iRacing as well, if I remember correctly. Ben, tell me yes if you want me to shout out the website address, and I'll do so. I'm not sure whether you're quite live yet or not, but I had a sneaky peek behind the scenes the other day and it was looking all good. Princess JT with us as always. Welcome. One of these days we'll get you on track with us, but great to have you along for the ride again tonight. So, what are we looking at? We are looking at Donington Park, which for those of you that don't know is, I believe this is one of those tracks that crosses into 2 counties. So it's on the Leicestershire-Derbyshire border, sort of about 20 minutes south of Derby, maybe 25 minutes I suppose. It's probably about a similar distance to the south west of Nottingham, probably about half an hour north of Leicester, and a good hour east of the beautiful city of Stoke-on-Trent. It sits right on the A50 M1 border. It's right next to East Midlands Airport, so for real life stuff around Donington, you'll quite often see a Ryanair plane just coming into land over and above the track, because the runway is literally next to the circuit, right next to the end of the or the end of the runway is right next to the M1 in fact. So there you go, there's your useless information about Donington Park. Your more useful information is that we've now got 21 GT4s in the server, ready to go racing tonight. And Ian Pinky Hall is the man who's running fastest at the moment in practice. But much can change between now and the end of the 2 races tonight. So far in this series, as we see everyone dive to the pits for their driver's briefing, with the exception of Sebastian Lythoff. So this man needs to get himself back into the pits, or else he'll get a slap on the wrist. I assume that's what he's doing now. No, that's his line. Okay. Yeah. So far we've had 2 races on the opening weekend, or the opening week of racing. I'm just bringing it up now at Brands Hatch. Both won by Ben Brown, and then we had a race, 1:45-minute race at Silverstone last week, which was won by Ben Brown. So Ben's won all 3 races so far, but currently only 3rd fastest in practice today. So let's see how he gets on. Thanks, JB. Love it. I'm looking to buy a button locks. You wouldn't happen to have any suggestions as to where I could buy one, Adam? Yes, in fact I do. In fact, I really do, JB. Yes, you can get yourself one from sim-stuff.com. Thank you for the reminder there. But of course, it is fair to point out our title sponsors of the British GT4 Series are our friends at simrace247.com, and their partners HyperX. So these guys bringing you the GT4 action tonight. I've got a feeling that this is going to be fun tonight. The GT4s are always great entertainment anyway, great action. But when you chuck them on a track like Donington, and you throw into the mix that there's going to be some tight battles tonight. Plus, you throw into the mix the fact that you've got 2 25-minute sprint races tonight. Anything could happen. And look, right now, the air temperature is 30 degrees. The track temperature is 39. But Ben said this absolutely right earlier. We should maybe change it from oNiD to oNear at the moment for oh no, it's raining. It seems whatever we do to keep the clouds at bay, they come rumbling in. I mean, if you haven't watched the stream from Sunday night from the GT3 World Series, which, it was just insane. Absolutely insane. The rain came in the last 15-20 minutes of the race at Alton Park, and it really threw some curveballs out there to everyone. Yep, oNear rebranding coming. It doesn't roll off the tongue quite as well, I have to say, as oNiD, but I think we've got to make it happen. The oh no, it's raining rebrand is happening. Ben, I was just saying to the good folk about your livery services. Is your website ready for me to call out on stream? I wasn't sure if you had opened for business as yet. I'm sure you can let us know now you are listening along. Next week. Okay, right. We will make sure to call it out next week for you. Mr. Beef, good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Yes, good evening, everyone. If you're wondering why there's no on-track action, it's because everyone is trying to listen to Willie in the driver's briefing, as long as their Discord is working. Everyone in chat, is your Discord working? Or is it... Johnny called me earlier and said, is your Discord working? I said, yes, absolutely fine. I'm talking to you on it right now. His wasn't, so I looked at Down Detector for him, and yeah, he was not alone. And at that point, I dropped a solid 1996 dance music reference into the admin chat, and then realised that the majority of my fellow admins are not of an age to understand what I was saying. So yeah, some people with issues, some people not. Fingers crossed they can all hear Willie talking. I'm just checking. It looks like the majority of them are in that driver's briefing, which is excellent. So, chat, what have you been up to this evening? Oh, actually, Johnny got my reference as well. Thank you, Beef. Yeah, so you got it, Johnny got it. I guess we're the old ones. Well, I'm definitely the old one, but never mind. What can we expect tonight? What have you guys got going on this week? What is going on in your sim racing world? It seems a bit busy at the moment, which is great. We love to see it busy. I'd love to talk to you more about some of the stuff that's going on behind the scenes at oNiD, but it's all so good. And I'm not saying that just to be a tease. I'm just saying because it's really exciting. There's loads going on in sim racing right now, and it's a great place to be. Is sim racing at this moment in time? So yeah, stand by, stick with oNiD. Things will happen. Things might happen. Things might not happen. Things do and don't happen. I need some cars on track, don't I? Beef loves the 90s dance tunes as well. Yeah, if it's anywhere near as much as I do, then that's a lot. And for those of you who don't know Simon, Mr. Extreme Beef, he's the man behind our Xbox side of oNiD. And they've got the oNiD OTL mixed class social get-together race tomorrow night, which of course will be fun. But yeah, any of you that are Xboxy type people, then jump into our Discord as well, and we've got a place for you guys. There's a real buzzing group of Xboxers in our Discord, racing away every single week, so get involved in that as well. So as these guys are sat in the pits, let's just have a look who's with us tonight. Apparently that's Ian Hall, but that looks like a wall to me. There we go, there's Ian Hall. That Ian Hall's with us. We've got Andy Thorpe. Oh, is it going to do this for every single car? Oh, it adds attention, I suppose. He's there in that beautiful Securicore Omega liveried BMW in the middle. Let's see if it does it for Ben. Yes. So we've got Ben Brown down there somewhere. Let's try changing to a different camera and see what that brings. No. So that's Ben Brown there in the white and purple Aston. We've got Alex Shahabi. We've got Hakan Anderson, Marek Chittil, Brad Horsnell, Grant Eckett, Petter Jelinek, Andy Hearn, Daniel Hyde, Stefan Loka, Johnny Ashley, William Black. Now, will those two be glued together once again? Craig Fairweather is with us, as well as Eric Sarek. Hiker van der Veen, the man. Dave Zalecki is back. Though back from his gallivanting across the Caribbean for his honeymoon. Dave is back racing. Don't know if he's shook off the jet lag yet or not. So we'll see how he gets on tonight. Casey Gould is with us as well. Heisenberg Knox and Sebastian Lythoff. So that's everyone that's here with us tonight. And as you can see in practice, it was Ian Hall the quickest. But we are about to head into qualifying. And here we go then. The guys heading out on track for qualifying. Welcome back, Dave. Good to have you back with us. And the poor man was practicing in the Audi this afternoon, forgetting that he'd signed up in the Merc. Well, I personally love the Merc, so I think you'll be absolutely fine in the Merc. A little understeery, but there's some ways around it. I'm sure you will get on absolutely fine, but great to have you back on track. So these guys just heading out on their outlap. Johnny and Willie last week absolutely glued together for the majority of that race. I wonder if it will be the same sort of thing again tonight as Johnny decides that we don't need bollards. Let's take those out and move them on their way. Let's face it, it's not going to make any difference to the big old NASCAR, is it? That thing can take a bollard or two, so to speak. Andy Hearn back with us in the 666 Skid Solo Racing McLaren. Who are we going to see the quick laps from tonight? I am going to say pole position tonight might be this man, Alex Shahabi. I don't know why. I just got a little inkling that he might be right on it tonight. So Alex crossing the line now to start his first flying lap. Let's take a ride on board with Alex as he comes through Redgate and starts to head down the world famous Craner curves. Is there a lift through the left? No. Hard on the brakes for the old hairpin. Beautiful line through there. So easy to get that one wrong. And then you climb the hill to the double right at the top. Here it comes. And this is a really tricky entry point, this one. Blind crest. Take as much of the curb on the outside as possible. And another blind crest, this one. A wickedly difficult corner, that one. It's so important because you then carry the speed all the way down the straight to the chicane. So in a moment he's going to move right like that, and then he's going to flick left right, taking as much curb as you can get away with on both the left and the right. Now down to, I think this is called the Melbourne hairpin, or this is the Melbourne loop anyway. And no, that's nothing to do with Australia. There is a nearby town called Melbourne, just across the A50 from Donington Park. A tricky little off-camber final hairpin. That looked like a really good lap from Alex. So let's see what kind of lap time he puts in. It is a 1:36.0. Ian Hall goes second, just 45 thousandths off. Let's see how Ben's getting on. He's coming out the final corner. As Eckett slips into third. So Ben goes across the line. He's half a second off Shahabi. So Alex quicker by some margin at this moment in time from our championship leader. Ian Hall on a good lap as well. So is Alex Shahabi. Both of those guys pushing hard. Always better in full screen for you, so there you go. Ian Hall is on a good lap here in his black, pink and white BMW, coming down towards the chicane now. This is where the short track would do a chicane in the opposite direction and join the end of the lap right away. But this is the full GP layout. So going all the way through that Melbourne loop. It's the slowest corner on the circuit, but there is a lot of time to gain and lose through there. So Shahabi not on for an improvement at this moment in time, but Ian Hall is by 3/10. So I think he's going to pop into pole. He does by just under 2/10. Ben Brown is up 4/10 on his best. So this is going to get him within about 3/10, I should imagine. Oh no, he's finding a little bit more through the final sector. So he gets really close and actually goes 5 thousandths ahead of Shahabi now. So a really solid lap from Ben. I think he's going to dive in and get himself some fresh boots to go again as Dave Zalecki goes 4th despite being in the car that he didn't practice in. So he's pushing that Mercedes nice and hard. Ian Hall on a better lap again. He's a 10th or so up. And he's got more time that he can find in the final sector because he actually dropped a couple of tenths in that final sector. Dave Zalecki's off. So he returns to pits. Alex Shahabi a 10th up at the moment as well. Make that 2. That's going to start flashing purple anytime soon. Although that was not ideal and the lap is invalidated. So Alex will have to go again. Ian Hall, meanwhile, coming down into that Melbourne loop right behind Alex. He will have seen Alex make that mistake. So he now knows that he has a great opportunity if he can nail this final sector. He is a 10th up on his best at the moment. Make that 2. Make that 1. Make that 2. It's now 3. So this could be a really strong lap from Ian. It is. And he now goes half a second faster than second placed Ben Brown. So big work for the other guys to do. It's a great lap from Ian Hall. It's the kind of pace we've been expecting from him all season. And there it is. Petr Jelinek on a good lap. 10th or so up on his best right now. Now the Ashley Black battle continues because look, those two separated by just over a 10th of a second. There in 13th and 14th and squeezing in right behind Dan Hyde, who's having a good qualifying session. So Petr not improving on this lap anymore, but Johnny is. Johnny is 4 tenths up at this point of the lap. So see whether he can continue that kind of pace. Johnny rocking some new equipment this week. Nice new wheel and pedals from Thrustmaster. So let's see if it makes him any quicker. And yes, he's invalidated that lap. He did look like he took quite a bit of curb. And yeah, that one's invalidated. So I think Ian Hall has said, that's it. That's all I can do, or that's all I've got time for. Same for Dave Zalecki. He's back in the pits. So I think Johnny's about to park it as well. So it's down to Ben and Alex. As Alex goes second now. So Alex improves slightly. And that's it for him. He's not going to go again. Oh, he is. He's going to see if he can squeeze out. I don't think you got enough time there, Alex, to get around and start another lap. No, you don't, I'm afraid. But Ben is out on track. So Ben can complete this lap and he can go for one more. Let's see who is improving out there. Andy Thorpe is on a decent lap. 4 tenths up this time around. Coming into the loop section. I'm still absolutely in love with that livery. It's just absolute dynamite. It really is. He's now 6 tenths up on this lap. So 6 tenths could put him around the Ben Brown kind of area. As he now goes 7 tenths up on his best. See what he can do through the final corner. Ben looking like he's got another 10th in him on this lap as well. But here comes Andy, and Andy goes second. So a really good final sector. He squeezes into second. And Alex Shahabi's in the pits, so he can't do anything about that. Ben Brown is the one to watch then to see if he can put himself onto the front row. He is a 10th up at the moment. I think Ian Hall is solidly in pole unless Ben can do something absolutely incredible over the rest of this lap. But it is going to be tight for second here. Ben 2 tenths up right now, which would put him into second. But all of that can change very quickly. Willie Black has had a better lap, moved himself up into 11th with exactly the same lap time as Brad Horsnell in 10th. But let's go back to Ben because he's into that final sector now, a 10th up. And that will be close as coconuts whether he can get himself up onto that front row. Rocking that beautiful oNiD liveried Aston Martin. Makes the car look absolutely fantastic. And he's not up on his best at the moment. Oh no, he's found a 10th or 2 in the final corner. So what's he got across the line? It's not an improvement. And he stays 4th. So that is pretty much going to be your order. Willie Black 3 tenths up. Hakan Andersson 3 tenths up on his current best. Eric Sarek is up a 10th. Stefan Locker is over a second up on his best at the moment, as is Sebastian Leithoff. So we'll keep an eye on those guys. Willie Black parking it. Let's take a look at Hakan Andersson. He's 5/10 up. Locker has now dropped it. Yellow flag for Locker, so that's his one over with. And Sebastian Lythoff is 1.4 up. That could make a big difference to his starting position. But we're going to see Anderson across the line. He's dropped some time in this final sector, but he's still a couple of tenths up on his best. Runs very deep into that final left-hander. Comes out the final corner, and he goes from 12th to 8th. So that's a good final lap from him. And Lythoff, moved up to 16th, and most importantly, pole in AM. So an action-packed qualifying then. And your grid is Ian Hall from Andy Thorpe, Alex Shahabi, Ben Brown, Dave Zalecki, and then Marek Chittle is your pole man in silver and 6th overall. Then you've got Petr Jelinek, Hakan Anderson, Grant Eckett, Casey Gould, Brad Horsnell, Willie Black, Andy Hearn, Dan Hyde, Johnny Ashley, rounding out the silvers. Then you got Lythoff in 16th, pole in the AMs. Then you got Sarek, Locker, Craig Fairweather with a tricky qualifying in the pro class, Heike van der Veen in 20th, and Heisenberg Knox rounding us out in the number 1 Audi 21st. Have a check in on the weather. It is bright, it is sunny, and the conditions are set to stay that way for the rest of this session, so everyone will be very relieved. Yeah, Dan, that's a solid qualifying for you, sir. 14th and ahead of Johnny. Always my aim is can I be ahead of Johnny? And Heike, yay, not last. No, you are not last, sir, and keep it clean and out of trouble, and you never know what will come to you during the race. Tricky old place to go racing is Donington Park. But these guys have done a good job. Put on a great show in qualifying, and I'm sure we're about to get the same in the race.
Seconds.
30 seconds then until they head off on their warm-up lap. Let's hope that everyone can keep it neat and tidy on the warm-up lap with no issues. There are a couple of folk in here who have been known to have some formation lap problems in the past. Not naming any names. Johnny Ashley, Michael Van der Veen, people like that. But I'm sure no such issues tonight. I'm reliably informed that the Discord issues have fixed themselves now, and the world is back to normal, which is always good to know. So the rear end of the field just beginning to leave the grid. And they head themselves off on their formation lap. That'll be an interesting one to watch. Oh, as we see Dan Hyde getting very sideways. Dan doesn't like the old traction control, and he's just getting some warmth into his tyres. Thankfully he held that one. But it was a lovely slide, well done. So, as these guys head around the track on their warm-up lap, this is as good a time as any to remind you what you're watching here at oNiD. This is oNiD Racing. This is oNiD Racing's Twitch channel, and this is the simrace247.com British GT4 Series, live here with oNiD Racing, live on Twitch, live on oNiDracing.com, and available to watch again on YouTube going forward. This is round 3 at Donington Park. My name's Adam D. Welcome along to the show with our partners Simrace247 and their friends HyperX as well. And also kudos to simracing.gp, Pitwall Live, Caden Computers and sim-stuff.com. Let's get ourselves to the action because these guys are just finishing off their warm-up laps, heading into the final corner. Ian Hall, your pole man, Randy Thorpe. The BMW is working well around here tonight in GT4. Then you've got Alex Shahabi and Ben Brown. I think those front four, in particular, can run together for the whole 25 minutes. This could be really exciting. We're about to get going when we get the green light.
Green light, give it all you got.
Which is now 2 people with drive-throughs for out-of-position starts. Locker and Van der Veen, unfortunate for those guys, but Ian Hall into Redgate in first, but that looks to me like Alex Shahabi is getting himself through as well. There is a little bit of contact further back, but nothing too serious. It looks like we've got through fairly safely. And Hall leads from Shahabi, then Brown, then Thorpe. Thorpe gets a touch from Dave Zalecki in the background, but everyone seemingly getting away with that. We are off and running here at Donington Park as they head up through the old hairpin. And, sorry, no, they're right at the top of the hill already. And Ian Hall settles himself into the lead. But Alex Shahabi will be straight after him. We know just how quick Alex can be in race conditions. Not that he's not quick in qualifying, but the man is quick when we get ourselves into a race. Ben Brown keeping a watching brief of all of this as well in third. This is on board with Ben as we come down into the Melbourne Loop. Everyone taking slightly different lines through the hairpin. It looks like everyone is safely through. Let's check a little bit further back down the field. Johnny's still right on the rear bumper of Dan Hyde. Thought Johnny was going to go for a send into the final corner then. Thought better of it. Maybe just letting him know that that he's there at least. So those 2 drive-throughs must have been for being out of position on the start, and Heike van der Veen takes his immediately, which is a real shame because in a 25-minute sprint race, that's going to be tricky to recover from. Shahabi looking like he's a touch closer to the back of Ian Hall through that first sector, and he really is. He's really putting the pressure on as they climb the hill to this this horrible double right-hander. That's my personal opinion. They're great to watch cars through, but I can't drive them. And that looked to me like, was that Petr Jelinek heading off into the scenery? I think it was. So I'm not sure. Well, no, he's managed to stay on, but it definitely was Petr Jelinek in trouble. Managed to recover it, but this is the battle for the lead as bollards go flying through the left-right chicane. Shahabi closer and closer with each breathing moment of this race. This is on board with the man in second. Ben Brown keeping a watching brief, looking to see if he can pick up the scraps if these two start to battle too hard. Down into the final corner then, and Hall looks like he just has the edge on Alex through the final sector, but Alex looked particularly quick through the first sector. So let's stay on board with Alex for a moment and just see whether we begin to close up on the back of that BMW. Keeping a beautiful tight line through Redgate. Now down through the Craner curves. Is he flat in race conditions? Yeah, not even a consideration of a lift. touch wide of the apex at Old Hairpin, but gets away with it, and that gap is about where it was before. Dave Zielecki looking a lot closer to the back of Andy Thorpe. Not as close as he was with his little love tap on lap 1, but no harm from that one. No harm, no foul, and these two carry on battling. Not a huge gap between them. As we keep a watching brief of the gap at the front as well. Anderson on Jelinek then. So this is a great battle between these two. Two different classes, but Anderson wants to get through because he wants to get himself after Willie Black and Marek Chitil. Willie Black having a great race tonight, up in 2nd in silver and 7th overall. Doing a really, really good job at this moment in time. This one stays close. That looked to me like Johnny Ashley was round. It was. Let's see what happened to Johnny, can we? 3 into 1 doesn't go. Unfortunately, there were 3 cars into 1, and one of them had to come off the worst. And unfortunately, it was the man who runs the community, Johnny Ashley. Such is life. But he's stuck on the back of Eric Sarek, who is our leader in AM, and not too far off the back of Andy Hearn. As Alex Shahabi takes the lead. So Alex Shahabi through into the lead of the race. So sorry that we missed that, but we were watching some action a little bit further back. But there is a lead change. The Mercedes of Alex Shahabi for Regal Racing takes the lead with Ian Hall 2nd. But Ian will now be worried about the presence of Ben Brown directly behind him. Ben Brown, your championship leader, having won all 3 races so far this season. Alex Shahabi lost out at Silverstone thanks to a late drive-through. And Ben picked up that win. Ben was dominant in his 2 victories at Brands. Taking all of the curb and a little bit of gravel on his way through the chicane. But the battle is on for 2nd. The battle is also on for 4th. Thorpe and Zielecki still going at it. Hammer and tong there. I don't understand that phrase, but it's a phrase, so we'll use it. Dave Zielecki staying nice and close to the back of that BMW of Andy Thorpe. This is rapidly turning into a... it's not quite a group of 5, but there's not a lot separating the top 5 there. As Jelinek gets past Anderson. No, Jelinek was ahead of Anderson. I think there was a brief change of position, but then it changed back again. Anderson wants to get through and chase after Willie Black. So Johnny just having to settle into a rhythm now. See if he can pick up a couple of positions in the last 17 or so minutes of this race. Thank you to those of you just joining us. Feel free to jump into the chat. You are watching oNiDRacing.com's British GT4 Series, round 3 at Donington Park. 2 25-minute sprint races supported by our friends simrace247.com and their partners HyperX tonight. Gap out front staying about the same, 3/10. As Dave Zielecki, I thought, was just looking at a move then on Andy Thorpe, but no, not quite close enough. I was just about to jump to Ben Brown because Ben is... oh, hang on. Dave with the switcheroo on the exit of the final corner. Now, which car's got the ponies down the straight? I'd expect it's the BMW. But the Merc is not slow. But yes, the BMW holds it into Redgate. But Zielecki getting closer and closer. He tries another switchback. But not quite enough space this time coming out of T1. Now, is it just me, or is that front 3 beginning to group together a little bit more? Shahabi's certainly not getting away at the front. Certainly not racing away at the front. And Hall and Brown staying with him. But this is where it's at right now. Your battle for fourth. Thorpe and Zielecki. See whether Dave's break has done him any good. A couple of weeks on the beach in the Caribbean for his honeymoon. Yeah, it might have just ridded him of his title of drive-through Dave. Plus the fact that these are only 25-minute sprint races, you'd be doing well to pick yourself up a drive-through in a 25-minute race, Dave. But you never know. You never know. Micah van der Veen back in the pits, having a difficult night. Ben Brown's dropped right back off Ian Hall. Or momentarily anyway, just catching back up now. My timing screen has got an orange disc next to Ian Hall, and I don't know what that means. And the orange disc has disappeared, so I have no idea. I'm still learning ACC TV, having recently switched to it. Bo Lamberts, good evening, sir. Welcome along to the stream. Yeah, we'll be looking forward to watching you in the rookies come Thursday evening. Myself and Johnny back on the mic. We might bring some friends with us as well. You never know. But yeah, you're not the only one who's missing their racing. I can't wait to get to a point where the doctor says I'm allowed to drive again. I'd probably have to be free of a plaster cast first, but I cannot wait until that moment that I can get back into a rig and get driving again. Yeah, but, I'm sure it won't be too much longer. Maybe another month or so, and then we'll be back in. Nemulus, good evening. Love a bit of Donington. Yeah, me too. It's a really tricky track, but it is good fun. And when you hook up a lap round here, it's really satisfying. Yeah, it's a lovely circuit. If you've never been, then it is really a great place to go and watch some racing. The Craner curves are a lot steeper than you think. They really are. We were hoping to get a bunch of the oNiD admins together and go down to the touring cars at Donington at the end of April, but dates just haven't quite worked out on that front. Dave Zielecki has got past Andy Thorpe, and that has just happened. So let's see if we can pick it up on a replay. Yeah, is this about to happen into Redgate, or is it going to be down the Craners? We're about to find out. Doesn't look close enough to me for a move into Redgate. No, he's not. So does Andy run a bit wide? Slightly, but Dave seems to be able to just get that car tucked right in to the inside. It seems to have a great front end on it, and he gets himself past on the run down the Craner curves. So Dave Zielecki up to fourth then. Andy Thorpe will go with him. Oh, I say that as Andy Thorpe gets it all sideways on his way into the chicane. Well held, that man. Yeah, I was just saying this is a great place to go and watch some racing. I used to go every now and again to when they did Formula E testing at Donington. I'd take myself down there with my camera and just go and wander around and watch them driving around all day. It was a lovely, relaxing day out to see that. So yeah, it's a lovely track to go to, and I'm fortunate it's not too far for me. It's only about 40 minutes from home. Is Donington? Maybe 45, there or thereabouts. It's 5 minutes between friends anyway. So Hiker has had a steering wheel issue. Oh no. I can't get it working again. That's a real shame, Hiker. So that's why we lost Mr. van der Veen partway through the race. Everything does seem to have settled down out front now. Alex Shahabi actually putting a lap on Heisenberg Knox there. But Alex looking pretty serene out front. Gap of 1.2 back to Ian Hall, who's now trying to get past Mr. Knox, and does so. He was eager to do it because he wants to keep that gap to Ben Brown at around that 1.3 mark, as Ben gets up the inside of Heisenberg as well. Dave Zalecki has got away from Andy Thorpe a little bit in 4th. And there is Andy in 5th. Marek Chittil is your leader in silver, and quite convincingly so as well. He's only just off the back of Andy Thorpe there in 6th place. But he's a good 4 seconds clear of Willie Black. Now, I saw some orange flashes then on my screen and thought we might have had a Dan Hyde issue, but no, we don't. We have Dan Hyde up the inside of Andy Hearn, which doesn't make much sense. I think maybe Dan might have dropped back a little bit actually, now having a battle with Andy Hearn. Andy looking to go back up the inside into Redgate. That's tight. Rubbing his race in, and they both get through there safely enough. But what's going to happen on the run down the Craners? Well, Dan tucks in front, but Mr. Hearn looks like he wants to get past that Janetta. But that's not the way to do it. They both miss the apex quite significantly there. Both run onto the dirt, get away with it. And now Andy Hearn just tucking back inside as Dan Hyde gets all sideways. Now into this tricky blind right-hander. Dan didn't scare the apex too much there. And they've all got to be careful because Johnny Ashley is rapidly approaching in the rear vision mirror. Or rear view mirror. Whatever it was that I got told off for saying the other day. And there is contact. There is contact between Hearn and Hyde. We are going to watch that one again, friends. Let's take a look, see what happens. We won't pass any judgment ourselves. That's for the instant panel to do. But yeah, you can have a look for yourself at what happened here. Looks to me like Andy Hyde gets a really good run down the straight, but a lot later on the brakes than Dan, and gives him a good thump into the chicane. And that looks to me like a couple of others have slipped through. Yeah, and in fact, Johnny has got himself past the whole lot of them. Let's see if we can pick up what happens. No, Johnny had already got it done. So in all of the melee after the instance at the chicane, Johnny has gained 3 positions in all of that. Moves himself up into 12th place overall. But I don't think that's where the story ends. We will go back to live any second, and we'll see how close these two still are now. Yeah, Johnny just ahead of Casey Gould in that baby blue, baby pink Porsche right behind him.
Hello?
But a somewhat damaged NASCAR continues on, but that Porsche looking like it wants a look. Thank you, Nemulus, for the subscribe with Prime. Much appreciated for that. Andy Hearn rejoining this pack as well. This rapidly becoming a 4-way battle for 12th overall and for 4th in silver class. As, Casey Gould sends it on the inside of Johnny. Johnny goes to take his normal turning point and Casey was already there. Hearn and Hyde side by side. Another beautiful rhyming couplet there. Well done, Adam. Great job. Johnny looking twitchy on his way out of Redgate. He's lost a lot of time to Casey Gould. He was pushed wide by the contacts in the final corner. And now Andy Hearn will be looking to see if he can regain the position on Johnny. But Johnny looking like the only one who got anywhere near that apex through the old hairpin, and he's a lot closer to Casey Gould right now. There's not a lot happening out front, by the way, so we're going to stay with this one right now. Johnny runs very, very wide. Hasn't lost a huge amount of time to Casey Gould. Soaring away on that steering wheel, as you can see the driver on the left there. Chopping away as the grip just slips away through the chicane then. Gould stays ahead of Ashley, and in the background you can see Hearn ahead of Hyde. The Gould tight in, wide out on the Melbourne loop. Hearn just trying to keep Hyde at bay after their collision a couple of laps ago. 5 minutes left in this one. Anderson and Jelinek super close together. Anderson was less than a tenth behind as they crossed the line previously, and now Brad Horsnell is right with them. And once again, the reason why Anderson's so keen to get past is the car in front of Jelinek is Willie Black, who is second in the silver class. But of course, Jelinek doesn't want to let Anderson go, because then all of a sudden that drops Horsnell right onto the back of him, and that one's for position as well. So whilst these guys are all in different classes and not necessarily wanting to fight each other, they've all got their reasons for staying with each other. And Jelinek looking closer and closer and looking like he wants to find a bit of space and a bit of breathing space to Horsnell by getting past Willie Black. Can't do so. Anderson weaving to try and find a way through. And all this time, Grant Eckett is closing the gap to them as well. This is what happens in GT4 sprint racing. Things ebb and flow and you get packs joined together all the time. This is 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th. Pretty much all together. Line astern now. 3 minutes, 40 seconds to go in this race. We've got another 25-minute race straight after this. This is oNiD Racing's British GT4 Championship from Donington Park. And the pack just separates themselves out a little bit as they come down the Craner curves. Just have a quick check back in on that Hearn-Ashley battle. Casey Gould has run off down the road. Andy Hearn staying right with Johnny. oNiD Enduro drivers, the pair of them. This is the view back from Willie Black in 6th place, with that snake of cars behind him. Jelinek, Anderson, Horsnell, Eckett, all wanting a piece of the Irishman. You just get the feeling that something's going to kick off here in this pack. It's not going to stay as nice and friendly as this all the way to the end, surely. It would be lovely if it did, but it just might not. This is the view back from Johnny Ashley as Andy Hearn gets closer and closer. This is the view from Andy Hearn's cockpit of the rather large rear end of Johnny's car. They're right down on the front splitter of Hakan Anderson's Porsche now. That's Petr Jelinek ahead. We've got Brad Horsnell and Grant Eckett right behind. In fact, let's go to the same camera on Grant Eckett, because he can see the whole lot from there. That's the whole queue of cars. McLaren looks a little bit quicker through that part of the track than the Mercedes ahead. Oh, and takes a much tighter line as they head out onto the back straight. And we know that McLaren has got a lovely bit of overspeed as they get towards the end of this straight. It looks to me like Anderson looking for a move, but nothing doing there. It's about with Horsnell and Eckert. Nothing doing there. Alex Shahabi onto the final lap. And that was Jelinek going very, very defensive. Anderson alongside as they head into the final corner. Is he going to switch back to the inside? No, not quite close enough. Lovely battle this one between these guys. Willie Black just holding station out front in 6th. Jelinek and Anderson are the closest two in all of this. Out front, Alex Shahabi on that final tour. Ian Hall solidly in 2nd ahead of Ben Brown. And then Dave Zalecki 4th, Marek Chittle 5th, and more importantly, 1st in silver class. You can all ignore Oscar MHT. That's a spammer. Please don't click any links that he posts. Jimbo Mancy with the subscription. That means there's a Mancy around here. Hola! Good evening, sir. On Hiker, you've got it working again. That is great news. So we can see you in for race 2. Good evening, Jimbo. Hope you're doing well. We are on the final lap here. So Alex Shahabi coming out the final corner. And he finally takes his first win of the season. Crossed the line ahead of Ian Hall, Ben Brown, Dave Zalecki on his return from holiday. He's going to finish a solid 4th. But let's just go back to this Jelinek and Anderson battle. I don't think anyone's going to go for anything too crazy in the final corner. And they don't. That one doesn't end in tears like I predicted. Good job by all of those guys. But there is a battle further back. No, actually it looks like Johnny has gapped Andy Hearn on this final lap and Dan Hyde behind them. I'm sure there'll be further conversations between Hearn and Hyde about their chicanery. Jimbo just finishing up with the rookie practice. How did that go with all of those guys? So the official practice session this evening for our rookie drivers. They've been in with the coaches, getting their hints and tips ahead of Thursday night's race. So if you're not doing much on Thursday evening, or even if you are, cancel those plans and get yourself in the stream on Thursday night for the oNiD rookie season. It's GT3s and it has just been epic racing all season. It's going to be really, really good again on Thursday night. Myself and Johnny on commentary. We may be joined by some friends. We may not. You'll have to wait and see. But here, we're about to go again. I love these sprint races. A couple of minutes between the pair of them just to get you reset and ready to go. Willie is sweaty. Please do not clip that. Yeah, great drive, Willie, and that was a real pack right behind you towards the end. So did well keeping all of those guys at bay. Jimbo with saying that the rookies' practice has been solid tonight. Really good pace from them all. And that's what we've seen all the way through the season. It's I say it each time we get those guys out on track. It's incredible how far they've come in such a short distance. Kudos to the coaches, but the standard of their driving as well You know, it's not just about pace, it's about racecraft and all that kind of stuff as well. And all of those guys, you watch those races, and unless it said that it was a rookie series, you wouldn't realise it was a rookie series. Really, really good job from all of them, and looking forward to having those guys back on track on Thursday night, live here on oNiD Racing's Twitch channel. Another date for your diaries, Friday night, 8 PM. Johnny and I are back with the third edition of the oNiD Arms. That is that Johnny and I are going to go sit in the oNiD pub for the evening, share a drink and chat about all things sim racing. We will have some kind of specialist guest along the way, but we will leave you hanging a little bit closer to the time on that one. But yeah, Johnny and I back for some inane sim racing chatter over a drink down the oNiD pub, the oNiD Arms. That'll be live on Twitch, 8 PM on Friday, and will then be available to watch on demand on YouTube going forward, and on all of your good podcasty platforms. So if you want to listen to our first episode of oNiD Arms, that's available wherever you get yourself your podcasts. Just type in oNiD Arms and you will find us. But meanwhile, we go heading off on to our warm-up lap once again. So good to see that Heike van der Veen is back in the server and back in the racing. Our pack has got away then onto their warm-up lap. And I know that that means that everyone wants me to watch this man, Johnny Ashley. Can he make it 2 clean formation laps in one night? Dun dun dun. We're about to find out. But once again, for anyone just joining us, here is what you're about to see. Race 2 of the night coming up then. This is the simrace247.com British GT4 Series at oNiD Racing with their partners HyperX as well, with thanks to our other partners simracing.gp, pitwall.live, Caden Computers and of course sim-stuff.com. My name's Adam D and you are about to go racing for the second time tonight. GT4s around Donington Park. Race 1 was a good one. Race 2 promises the same. As they come into the final corner of their formation lap now. Ian Hall on pole from Andy Thorpe. These guys both slip back a little bit in the order in race 1. Let's see whether they can have a better run in race 2. The BMW super quick in qualifying, but it was Alex Shahabi that took the win in race 1. Can he repeat it from third on the grid? As we get a green light, and Ben Brown was a long way forward there, but he lost out last week by being too far back. So obviously learning some lessons from that. The front of the field seemingly through okay. Let's go a little bit further back. See if there's any issues. It looks okay. I'm just watching those cars heading down the Craners, because that's where it gets a little bit sweaty often. But Johnny safely passed Dan Hyde. Let's go back up to the front. And Ian Hall leads. Oh, hang on. Where's Andy Thorpe? Andy Thorpe drops back to 4th pretty much straight away. Ben Brown looking for a way past Alex Shahabi early doors. Couldn't quite get it done. And we're in a similar kind of run to what we were in race 1. Hall, Shahabi, Brown, Thorpe and Zalecki. Your early order. Marek Chittil looking for a way past Petr Jelinek. He's going to the outside as they head into the chicane. That was always going to be tricky. You see Willie Black on the back of Hakan Andersson there. Through a chicane. Can Willie get a good run into the hairpin? I think it's going to be tricky from that far back. And he certainly doesn't. That looks like Dan Hyde and Andy Hearn. Dan Hyde with a big dive. And had to get himself out that one. And that's... yeah. Okay. Ian Hall still leads then. But you can see that Shahabi is closer. Talking of closer, Andy Hearn with some of the AM guys right on his back. So it's Locker and Heisenberg Knox. So Knox looking for a way past into T1. Sends it, goes through, runs wide. Locker back through on the inside. In fact, out of 4 corners, out of 4 cars there, only one of them made the corner. Back out at the front then. Hall just ahead of Shahabi. Oh dear. Hiker had an Adam moment. He managed to sort his wheel out, but forgot to resort his pedals, so had no brakes into turn 1. Never mind, Hiker. There's always Thursday night. There's always next week. There's always another race. Fear not. These things are all good learning experiences, and the good thing is you now get to listen into the stream for the rest of the evening. Normal service has been resumed out front. Hall and Shahabi all over each other, but Ben Brown right with them this time around. Ben wants to be a little closer to the action this time, I think, and he's right there. Talking of close, Willie Black remains glued to the back of Hakan Andersson as well. That's for second in class. Marek Chittil right in front of them leads that silver class. Dan Hyde finds himself at the back after that issue that we saw earlier on. But this is your front 3 running down through the Craner curves. Ben's turn to decide we don't need a particular bollard and sends it flying into orbit. No doubt to be sucked up by the next plane landing at East Midlands Airport. They've gone that far into orbit. But the front 3 getting away. Thorpe holding on ahead of Zalecki just as he did for the majority of race 1 until Dave found a way through with a nice old switchback. Ben looking very close to Alex this time around. Who gets the better run through the chicane? Ben leaving nothing on the table there. But actually it looks to me like Shahabi closer to Hall at this moment in time. This is your front 3 then. First, second, third, Hall, Shahabi, Brown, BMW, Mercedes and Aston Martin in this GT4 race here at Donington Park. Hall runs a little wide and Shahabi gets closer again. Keep a watch on that Zalecki and Thorpe battle in the background as well. Zalecki the white car, Thorpe the blue and black BMW. But this is where our main interest lies at this exact moment in time. You knew what I meant. It was sort of there. All Shahabi Brown once again down through the old hairpin. I'm keeping the helicopter busy tonight. It makes for some great viewing of of a three-way like this. Ben just seems to drop back off of these guys a little bit on this lap. This is on board with Dave Zielecki in 5th. Looking for that way past Andy Thorpe, just like he did last time around. At least he had plenty of practice at it in the last race. That front three just ahead there. Oh, somebody's taken the tyre stack out. Who needs a tyre stack, eh? Like now cheering on car 29. Stefan Locker. Let's go check in on him. There he is, and he's got Sebastian Leithoff for close company. In fact, Leithoff gets past. So the Alpine drops to second in class now. Like a little bump on the way into the chicane, but they both got through safely. But there was a change of position there. The Alpine keeping a lovely tight line through the final corner. Back out front, and Shahabi closer and closer to Ian Pinky Hall now. But Ben Brown closer to Shahabi as well. So this front three going off together again. You'd have to say the three of them a lot closer together than they were in the previous round. There goes another bollard. No, we don't want that one. All right, fine. Marshals have just spent all this time putting the bollards back out after race 1, and these guys have systematically destroyed them before the 17-minute mark. Never mind. Never mind. Shahabi looking seriously close to Ian Hall this time. But Ian with a lovely defensive line into the hairpin. Shahabi getting the... looking like he had a good run there. Just finding it difficult to find the gap at the moment. The longer these two battle, the easier it is for Ben to stay with them. And all it takes is for one wrong foot and Ben Brown gets himself into the lead. But see, Ian just tends to get away a little bit through that part of the lap. And now you'll see Shahabi squeeze up a bit closer once again. Zielecki still behind Thorpe in the background. This is the battle we want to be watching right now, though. Oh, as Alex Shahabi runs very wide out of old hairpin. Think he gets away with it. Carries the speed. But Ben Brown is closer to him. Sorry, trying to switch cameras. Ben goes to the outside of Shahabi. There's a little nudge. That could be a stunning move if Ben pulls that one off. And I think he's about to, you know. He does indeed. Ben Brown round the outside, round the outside. Absolutely fantastic move from Ben. Let's see if we can watch that on board. No, we can't watch it on board, but we're about to see it again here. Oh, we can watch it on board. But that's from Shahabi's point of view. Ben sweeps around the outside. Lovely move. We're going to go back live in just a second, so that we can see what's going on now. But some really nice driving between the pair of them. Zielecki has got himself ahead of Thorpe. But this was the big change. The change for second. All it took was Shahabi with one little mistake onto the grass on the exit of the old hairpin. And Ben knew that if he didn't take his opportunity then, he might not get another one. So he took it, and he took it well. Now let's see whether he can close the gap on Ian Hall. 8/10 the gap at the moment. Let's see whether he's got the pace. Thank you, Hiker, asking after the leg. Well, I've still got it, which is good news, I suppose. No, it's okay, thank you. It's more frustrating than anything now. It's still in plaster. Back to the hospital on Friday for them to take another look and decide what the next step is. But next step, I wish. Yeah, I think it's likely to be another 4 weeks in a plaster cast after Friday. But we'll see. We'll see. Sure, I can fill you all in on the oNiD Arms on Friday night, 8 PM here on Twitch. But you know, big thank you to everyone for asking how I am and things like that. It means a lot. Anderson and Jelinek back together like they were in the last race. And again, Jelinek doesn't want to let them go, because if he lets Anderson go, he probably has to let Willie Black go, and then he's got Grant Eckett right on the back of him. So this is turning into a legitimate I can't get my words out tonight. Never mind. A legitimate battle. I think it was the word battle following it that was going to make it difficult, but never mind. This is currently our closest battle on track, although Ben has found 3/10 on Ian Hall on the last lap, so the gap down to 5/10 there. Ben with the fastest lap of the race, 1:35.677. As Jelinek runs very wide, Anderson looks for a way past now. On the climb back up the hill, timing towers in the way. Alex Shahabi with a drive-through. So our man in third place, our winner from round 1, has a drive-through, as Willie Black also gets past Petr Jelinek. He needs to get after Hakan Anderson, so he takes the opportunity as well. Things happening all over the place, but for the second week in a row, Alex Shahabi picks up a drive-through penalty, and that really puts him out of contention at the front. It is now a 2-horse battle between Hall and Brown. As we see, Eckett now trying to get past Jelinek. So Jelinek having a difficult time. Andy Thorpe has got back past Dave Zalecki, I think. Yes, he has. But Dave looking like he wants to find a way straight back through. We'll see what the gap is between the leaders as they cross the line. It remains 5/10. Alex Shahabi takes straight to the pits to serve that drive-through. It'll be interesting to see where he comes out into the field. But Dave Zalecki's got it all to do again there. Whew, and breathe, Adam. Right, pack continues to close up together in the middle of the field. It's that same pack that were there together last time around. As you see, that's Shahabi just coming out of the pits. I think he's going to slot in behind Johnny Ashley, or is he just ahead of Johnny? Just ahead of Johnny. Ben Brown 6/10 off of the lead now. Zalecki right on the back of Thorpe once again, looking for what is now the final podium place. Dave will be very keen to get that move done. I think he's a little bit too far behind Brown and Hall to catch those guys, but a podium would be a great return from Dave after a couple of weeks off. Down into the chicane. Thorpe doesn't want to give this one up, understandably so. But Dave has got a great run out of the chicane, goes to the outside into the Melbourne loop. He's going to try the old switcheroo on the exit, but Thorpe wise to it and parks it like a bus on the inside. Dave, though, still looking for ways to get through. As that BMW just cocks a left rear wheel into the final corner. That sort of tricky off camber corner that it is. Gap out front down to 4/10. So Ben Brown has got some pace over Ian at the moment. Ben will be keen to chase Ian down and find a way to win this one. Let's check back in on that central pack. Jelinek ahead of Eckett. That one is for positioning class, and then you've got Gould behind, and then Horsnell behind him, and then Alex Shahabi trying to recover there as well. So Shahabi straight onto the back of this pack. So Alex can at least have some fun doing some overtaking tonight. as Casey Gould goes for a move up the inside of Eckett. Doesn't leave Grant much choice but to give him the space. Shahabi now looking for a way to get past Brad Horsnell in the fellow Mercedes. Let's go on board with Alex Shahabi, and I get the impression there might be another Mercedes to our right hand side. There was, it's now behind us. Sorry, I got momentarily distracted because I think there was a cat outside our rear window. So distracting slightly. So look at these guys just up ahead. Casey Gould all over the curbs, trying to find a way past Petr Jelinek now, because he wants to go and join that battle with Chittil and Anderson and Black at the sharp end of the silver class. Gap out front down to 0.3, and in fact it looks even closer than that to me. This is the battle for the race lead. This is Ian Pinky Hall for Pinky Simulation by X-Kart, being followed very closely by the oNiD B22R car of Ben Brown. It is really good racing once again, Hiker. As you know from being in this series yourself, the GT4s are great to drive. They're really good to have some nice close battles with. So these guys bringing us some great action once again. This is the battle for the lead, though, as you see an aeroplane in the background just coming into land at East Midlands Airport. See, told you. Nice bit of additional content from ACC. Well done. This is Ian Hall into the final corner. Ben Brown closer and closer and closer. But at the moment it stays at 0.4 of a second. This one might just go all the way to the end, I think. Ben has the faster lap in the race so far. Was a 10th faster over that previous lap. But Ian Hall remaining nice and consistent. Good solid defensive driving when he needs to. And he will try his darndest to take his first win of the season. With 4 races into this season, 3 wins for Ben Brown, 1 for Alex Shahabi, who has got himself up into 9th now, following his drive-through. Grant Eckett takes to the pits. Don't know what happened to Grant there. Let's just go check in on Alex Shahabi. He's looking for a way past Petr Jelinek now. We've got a yellow flag out there somewhere. It's for Heisenberg Knox. And he's parked in an awkward place there. Excuse me, little sneeze. Heisenberg's had steering issues as well, unfortunately. Thank you, Jimbo. Little delicate sneeze from the little delicate person that I am. I am neither little nor delicate. But I am a person. This is your battle for the lead. Continuing on, Andy Thorpe still ahead of Dave Zaleski, not by much, it has to be said, 0.3, but still ahead. Dave got ahead earlier on, then Mr. Thorpe got back ahead again and has managed to stay there ever since. It didn't sound like I passed a lung. God, who's the drama queen round here? Hey? Seriously, I couldn't afford to pass a lung. I can't lose any more functioning body parts. So this is a close battle, but there's also only 0.2 between our leaders now. That looked to me like Heisenberg Knox has got back going again. And gets himself nicely out of the way of the 2 leaders. Brown and Zaleski close as coconuts as well. Chittil continues to lead silver. but he's got Håkan Andersson right with him now. Just 4 tenths between those two. There's things to keep a watching brief of all the way through the field, as we see Ben Brown getting close again into the hairpin. Out through the final corner now. Now we're on board with Dave Zalecki looking at the back of that Listerine BMW. Nice tight line from Dave in the Mercedes. BMW wandered a little bit wide through the apex. Dave then a little squirrely on power through exit. These two nice and evenly matched. But Johnny having a solid run this time around, all by himself, but he is 4th in class again, ahead of Hearn and Gould and Hyde, again like he was last time around. A solid old run from Johnny. Jahabi gets himself up into 7th now. He'll be looking to close that gap down to Anderson. This is where we really want to keep a watch. Ian Hall continuing to lead. Now 8 tenths clear of Ben, but I think Ben's closed that gap back up on this lap. Only just over 2.5 minutes left in this one, so about 10% of the race left. And then we are done for the night. Just as a reminder, Alex Shahabi took the win in race 1. It's very much a 2-horse race between Ian Hall and Ben Brown for race 2. Questions coming. How's Dan doing? I'm assuming you're talking Dan Hyde. He is currently 14th overall. Unfortunately bringing up the tail end of the silver class, but we saw him have an issue early on. Let's call it an issue. Zalecki back past Thorpe. So let's see if we can pick that one up on replay, can we? Yes, we're going to. So it's pretty much the same as last time around. Is it going to be the switchback on the exit of Redgate, just like it was in race 1? I think there's a good chance that it is. And then the run down the hill through the Craners. Yes, it absolutely is. Dave gets it nicely tucked in, whereas Andy runs a bit deep through Redgate. And before they get down the hill, the Mercedes is ahead. But Dave's off. Dave Zalecki off now. We've just picked up the back end of that one as the leader starts the final lap. Let's see if we can see what happened to Dave this time around. So they're coming up on a back marker. Heisenberg gets right out of the way. No problems there. Is Dave going to drop it all by himself? It's not there. It's the next corner, isn't it? So what happens to Dave? A lot of curb on the inside. Oh, no. It's a back marker having a moment all by themselves and collects both Dave and Andy Thorpe. Andy Thorpe gets away with it, though. Gets back going. Marek Chittil has got through as well. And so has Håkan Andersson. So Dave in the wars on the final lap. He was looking good for a podium then. Let's go back to the front and just see how Ian Hall's getting on. I think he's going to hold this one unless he makes a boo-boo on the final lap. Ian Hall right there in first place. 6 tenths ahead of Ben Brown. Let's just go see what's going on here. So Chittil right behind Thorpe. You wouldn't have expected a move there because they're not in the same class, but you never know. Let's go back to our leaders because Ian into the final part of the lap now, and he is about to get himself his first win of the season. And I think Ben has settled for second now. Knows there's not a lot that he can do between now and the end of the race. So I think we are about to see Ian Pinky Hall take his first win of the season. Comes through the final corner then. And away he goes with our race win for Ian Pinky Hall. Ben Brown across the line in second. Great job from both of those. Andy Thorpe, I think, is going to hold on to third. He was on the front row. Both he and Dave unlucky to be caught out by a spinning back marker on the penultimate lap. Andy Thorpe managed to survive it a little bit better. Chittle takes a win in silver. Shahabi 5th overall in the end. Anderson and Zalecki. Dave's obviously happy with that one. Jelinek just gets himself ahead of Willie Black. Black in 9th. Horsnell 10th. Johnny Ashley across the line in 11th. That's 4th in class. Solid run from him. Andy Hearns there somewhere. That didn't look like it was a clean end to the race. Let's see if we can see what happened. Oh. No, we didn't see what happened, but yeah, I think Hearn and Gould have had a little moment there, heading towards the line. But your winner in AM, I think, is going to be Eric Sarek, look. So Sarek is going to come across the line and take himself a win in AM. So there we go. That is your GT4 action for tonight. We've had a couple of good races, and look at Mr. Sarek giving it the big donut. Love to see it. But we've had a couple of really good races there tonight, and you know, Ben's picked up some solid points. Ian Hall takes his first win. Alex Shahabi takes his first win of the season in race 1. We've had some solid battles up and down through the field. Some great pace shown out there. So some really, really good racing for us to watch up and down through the field. I don't know about you, but I've really enjoyed that one. We've come towards the end of our broadcast, but thank you everyone to you for watching this evening, keeping me company in here whilst I ride solo. Wednesday nights are night off for oNiD, and then we're back on Thursday with the next round of the GT3 Rookies season. Do not miss that. Broadcast live here on Twitch with myself, Adam D, the big man Johnny Ashley, and of course some special guests along the way. And then Friday night, 8 PM, myself and Johnny back for the next episode of oNiD Arms. And then there's all kinds of shenanigans going on oNiD over the next couple of weeks. But do not go anywhere, because this Twitch channel is always going to bring you more and more action as we go along. Thank you to everyone for watching. Thank you to those of you in the chat. Great stuff. And I will see you on Thursday evening. Thanks for watching.